Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my
Let's fight.
I don't wanna be saved. I've been doing shit my way, through the highway, and in the driveway is an express. 'Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want.
Ready, bro. Firing all cylinders. Reaction time there, speed there. It's focus. That's what got him ready. It's focus.
Good. 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 Stay in your rhythm, champ. Stay in your rhythm. Your rhythm, your time, your fight. Let's go.
You trying hard? Good job. It's effort.
When you look at how Stevenson is training for Teofimo Lopez, it becomes clear that the entire camp is built around surviving and controlling the early chaos rather than shining late when things are comfortable.
How many rounds you do today? 17, right?
Teofimo is most dangerous in the first half of fights, so Shakur's conditioning is designed to handle pressure right away, with fast-paced rounds, short rest breaks, and drills that force him to regain distance immediately after being rushed. The goal is to make pressure feel normal, not overwhelming, so winning rounds under stress doesn't feel different from cruising later.
I got you on my time.
A big part of the work is also fixing the small defensive lapses that showed up in recent fights, because against Teofimo, even one clean shot matters. That's why every jab and check hook now comes with an automatic step away or angle change. No standing still to admire punches. No giving Teofimo the confidence that he can land if he forces his way in.
Get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. There we go, there we go. Left 15, all the way down.
I feel great. Sprints kind of be getting me right, get my conditioning right. Sometimes in a fight could turn into a sprint. Cause it's like, to start the pace fast as hell and then they can't keep up the pace, but the sprints will kind of get you in shape to where once you break down, sometimes you get a second win, then you get another win, then you get another win after that. So I did the sprints a lot in a Jamel Herring fight. That's why you seen me fight at a fast pace. And then once I slowed down, I picked it back up and I had all the energy in the world to do it. So we locked in.
Shakur's movement isn't about running laps around the ring either. It's about small, controlled steps that keep Teofimo close enough to swing but never balanced enough to land clean. Mentally, the camp is about learning Teofimo's habits, studying how he jumps in, how he loads up on single shots, and how he pauses afterward, so by the middle rounds, those attacks feel predictable instead of dangerous. The plan isn't to knock Teofimo out or overpower him, but to make him miss early, touch him back every time, and slowly drain his confidence until the big bursts fade. In simple terms, Shakur is training to make Teofimo work harder for less reward until the fight becomes frustrating, controlled, and stacked in Shakur's favor.
Yeah, let's do the rest centered up, I think.
Oh, centered up? Okay, yes. So he's looking right in the camera?
Yeah, because he's talking to...
Yeah, I'll land a punch on him. For sure.
Do you believe your opponent underestimates you?
I think my opponent is underestimating me because he said that I'm a slow one. He thinks that I'm too small.
And this is where the calm logic of Shakur Stevenson's training smashes straight into the noise, because once you've built a camp around surviving chaos without panic, these debates stop sounding theoretical. Listening to Shawn Porter and the crew go back and forth, I can hear the real argument hiding underneath the jokes. We say we want savagery, but we punish fighters who survive too well.
Shakur is extremely smart.
Okay.
I can guarantee you this is what Shakur is going to do. Shakur is going to come out middle of the ring, work that jab, work that pawn that he does, all that, the feints. He's going to try to touch him with the jab, but he's going to be waiting on his moments to snap with that right hand, waiting on his moments to counter, waiting on his moment. And when they're not there, he's just going to slide off, go for that little walk, restart.
Porter's talk about restarts, space, and resetting the fight isn't boredom. It's how you take oxygen away from Teofimo Lopez, a guy who needs rhythm breaks to feel dangerous.
Slide off, restart. Shakur is the kind of fighter that does not mind restarting. That was our thing, was once we start, we want to do the best we can to get away from another restart, because the restart allows you to reset, allows you that space, and stuff like that.
And when people say Shakur needs to show the dog, I laugh, because dogs get hit, and Shakur's whole career is built on not letting you touch him. We complain about running, then admit Teo's had boring nights too, and suddenly nobody wants to finish the sentence. That's boxing. The wildcard talk is real though, because Teofimo can flip a fight with one moment.
The thing that I like about Shakur though is, we already know the statistical numbers in terms of how much he gets hit per round and even per fight, which is
low.
But the other side of that is offensively, he's very accurate, very accurate.
While Shakur wins by quietly deleting options round by round. My take? The more fans beg Shakur to fight different, the more he becomes himself. He's not chasing cheers, he's chasing minutes. If Teo can't force trades, that twitchiness turns into shadowboxing with consequences.
So while we don't like that he might throw 30, 40 punches around, he's usually on point when he throws. He don't miss. He finds his moments and then he turns it on. The difference is when he turns it on is he's delivered that power to a point where we actually sit back and all right, round after round, like, all right, he's losing these rounds.
We're not arguing skill versus excitement. We're arguing whether patience should be punished for being quiet. And that's why this fight is dangerous both ways, because chaos needs permission and Shakur trains to never give it. If order holds, we'll call it boring, while watching precision age perfectly. If chaos lands, we'll act shocked, even though we begged for it.
Now, listen, man, we're talking about a situation. We're talking about a situation where a fighter could be smart enough to just be right on point. What I mean by that is we could be in a situation where both these guys kind of coasting through the round.
Either way, somebody's truth breaks, and that's what keeps me locked in, eyes open, bias checked, waiting for the moment discipline gets tested under real fire. Not Twitter noise, not nostalgia, but live consequences in rounds.
But Teo's finding moments to steal moments in every round and steal rounds and actually win on the scorecards simply because he did just a little bit more, simply because he was just a little bit more active. I don't know.
And right after Porter broke down, restarts, and patience like a veteran who's lived inside those moments, Bernie Thay Boxer slides in and flips the angle without even raising his voice, because his whole take is basically, y'all are missing what this fight is really about. Bernie said Shakur isn't just hard to hit, he lives in that cursed range where you're close enough to feel brave and far enough to look foolish. And I'm nodding because that's the Mayweather effect he's talking about, not flash. Just quiet frustration stacking up round by round.
No, well, Shakur has the ability to diffuse you. you know. So I think he has the Mayweather effect where he can diffuse you. It's just on if he's going to take the more risk, you know, to stamp his victory, you know what I mean? To you know, he's gonna let his hands go in the times that he could using his speed, you know. So that's just what I think it is with that. I think he know how to nullify what you're doing.
When Bernie points out that Teofimo hasn't looked dominant lately, I hear less hate and more warning, because you can't show up bored against a guy who turns boredom into control. He said Teo gets touched, busted up, loses sharpness, and that matters when you're facing Shakur Stevenson, a fighter who doesn't rush greatness, he invoices it. I like how Bernie framed it as Shakur's fight to define himself, not Teo's, because that's pressure in disguise.
Sometimes he leads in some fights, you know, he's not as capitalized as much as you think he could, you know. So I think that's gonna be it, you know. If you make him miss, make him pay 2 or 3, you know, not just one counter punch, you know. So I think that's the thing about it, and I'm sure that he will, you know. I'm sure that he will. Of course, he's gonna be a little cautious at first, but Teo ain't knocking nobody out neither, though.
You're not fighting the man across from you. You're fighting expectations, promotion, superstardom, and your own patience. Bernie said Teo had the lane after Lomachenko and let it drift, and that hit me, because boxing doesn't wait for anyone to feel ready. Then he went straight for the uncomfortable truth. If you can't hit Shakur, how are you supposed to hurt him? And suddenly all the power talk starts sounding theoretical. I laughed when Bernie questioned this mythic Teofimo power, because facts don't care about highlight reels, and lately the damage hasn't matched the reputation. When he compared Shakur to Mayweather's ability to defuse opponents, that's not praise, that's a diagnosis. You can swing all night, but if nothing lands clean, confidence leaks. And when Bernie said this fight decides whether Shakur crosses into superstardom, I felt that weight, because winning clean isn't enough anymore. It has to look undeniable. We're watching to see if control finally gets its flowers, or if chaos steals the mic again.
I'm just, you know, so the kid, like, he in a good position, you know, and if he is able to win against Teofimo Lopez, he will be a lineal champion in 2 weights. And okay, Teo, he's done that. So if he beats Teo, he equals that accomplishment, and he beats him. So I would definitely say he's the best boxer. He's the best one.
And right after Bernie framed Shakur as this slow drip frustration machine, Jose Benavidez Sr. comes in, sounding like the guy at the gym who's seen too many talented fighters lose to their own habits. And that's where the tone subtly shifts. Jose straight up said Shakur is insanely good, but almost too responsible, and I laugh because that's the politest way to say, yeah, he'll win, but you might need coffee. When Jose talks about Shakur not risking much, I hear respect mixed with a challenge, like he's saying, you know you can do more, right? And when he brings up that one inside performance where Shakur stayed in the pocket and made everyone blink twice, that's the ghost haunting this whole fight. We've seen that version, which makes every safer performance feel like he's leaving money on the table. Jose isn't hating, he's diagnosing. He's basically saying Shakur chooses control over excitement on purpose, and you can't be mad at a man for protecting his future, even if fans want fireworks on demand.
Shakur Stevenson's fucking insane. You know, he's good. He knows how to win fights. He doesn't risk as much, and I think he should because he's really good at it. But he just sometimes makes fights so boring. The only one that I like is the one that he fought and looked spectacular. Yeah, inside. He stayed inside. He showed. I was like, what the fuck? You know? And all the other fights, I would just fall asleep, bro, you know, too.
Then Jose pivots to Teofimo Lopez, and this is where it gets real human. He calls Teo a showman, not in a clown way, but in a this dude does stuff you don't teach way. And I felt that because Teo's talent has always been loud, but Jose also slipped in the quiet warning. Boxing punishes distraction, and Teo's been through things. That's not gossip, that's experience talking. When Jose says if Teo is focused, he's dangerous, that's not hype, that's conditional truth. Focused Teo is a problem. Unfocused Teo is a question mark with gloves. I like how he refuses to pick a side, calling it 50-50, because that tells you this fight isn't about skills on paper, it's about who shows up whole. We're not watching styles clash, we're watching discipline wrestle temptation. And you already know which one boxing usually rewards when the lights get bright.
And they have so much talent and they just lose a little bit of focus, and boxing will make you pay for that, you know? So I'm just hoping that he's 100% back and focused. And man, when he's focused, that guy is dangerous, you know? So if he's focused, we're having a great fight. We're having a good fight. And you can't blink because both of these guys have power. So, or they can hurt each other, you know? And
so when you stack all of this together, the way Shakur built his camp to normalize chaos, Porter breaking down why restart suffocate danger, Bernie calling out that cursed range where confidence goes to die, and Jose reminding you that discipline and focus decide careers, you realize this fight isn't about who's flashier or louder, it's about who survives being themselves. Teofimo lives off moments, emotion, ignition. Shakur lives off minutes, denial, and quiet control. One guy needs the night to speed up, the other needs it to slow down. And that's why every round feels like a test instead of a highlight reel. Because one clean disruption flips the story, but sustained order rewrites it completely. This isn't good versus evil or boring versus exciting. It's philosophy versus philosophy with gloves on. And somebody's truth is getting exposed when the bell keeps ringing.
And I'm just so happy that this fight got made, and I'm looking forward to see this fight.
Absolutely, man. It's nice to see these guys the best fight the best. Who do you favor in the fight?
I like I said, you know, both of them are so good, and like I said, whoever shows up that night is the one that's going to be more focused and take that fight.
Now drop your thoughts in the comments, really debate it, don't duck it, and yo, don't ever forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters. See you in the next one.